Welcome to Library Out Loud SCLD podcast. Today I talked with Aileen Luppert. She is the Community Engagement Manager here at SCLD, and we talked about community engagement and her role and how she works with the communities and some really cool stuff. We talked about Homeless Connect, we talked about food insecurity and upcoming food drive, and then some other ways that we're bringing in partners to the library to help you. So stick around and give us a listen. Welcome, Aileen, to the podcast. You're here to talk about community engagement.
I am. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And so tell us a little bit about your role with SCLD and what you do and what that entails.
Sure. Well, I think the district has always been really committed to community engagement and making sure that the work that we do is community responsive. All the librarians do that, and that's kind of where I started. This position's a little bit new, and it takes that and it maybe is 2.0 in some ways, or amps it up a little bit, where that's my main focus is trying to be out in the community and building community collaborations and partnerships, and not only building them, but cultivating them and keeping them going and trying to find ways that we can bring our community partners' work into the library.
Okay, wonderful. And so I'm going to just dive right into one of the things I know you've been doing for several years now, which is Spokane Homeless Connect, which is coming up in January. And then there's also, I believe, a Spokane Valley Connect. Share a bit about those and the importance of those to the community.
Sure. That work started, I think I've been working with the Homeless Connect 5 or 6 years now. And part of how it came about is that I was involved in a community group here in Spokane Valley. And this Homeless Connect event would happen every January downtown. And folks kept saying, why the Valley needs those services? Why aren't they here? And I thought, I don't know, why aren't they here? So I went and volunteered for the Homeless Connect to figure out what do they do and how do they do it. And then the next spring helped bring the event to Spokane Valley. So we've done it I think we've done it 4 times now in the Valley. Over time, it's kind of evolved where all of us are now working on both events. So it is both events have officially come together with the same planning committee that's calling itself the Spokane Connect, but it's the 2 events with mostly the same folks involved.
And what goes on at a Connect event?
Connect events or Homeless Connects have been around for a while, and I don't know the exact history, but my understanding is they began somewhere in California a long, long time ago. And the idea is that for people who are struggling with homelessness or on the brink of it, they need to go to all these places, and they need to see all these agencies, and they need to, check in. And if they don't have transportation, that can take days, weeks, months, and often be a barrier where it just doesn't happen at all.
Right.
So the idea was, if you bring as many services as possible to one place under one roof and try to remove as many barriers as you can, that you're going to actually help and make a difference. And so it's been around the country. I maybe even in Canada, it's in lots of places, but
that makes total sense.
It does.
Even as somebody who I have transportation, if you're trying to do multiple things a day, it can get where you just can't do it all.
Right. And you may get to one where you're like, okay, I am applying for housing today, and they say, well, I need a copy of your ID. Well, I don't have an ID. So now you have to go down the trail of figuring out, what happened to my driver's license. I need to replace it. Can I get a state ID? So one thing can lead to the next and leave you kind of stuck where you are.
Yeah. So then pulling all those different agencies together into one spot. Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
It is. I think, homelessness is obviously so complicated and so complex, and there are so many opinions about, how to tackle it or what needs to happen. This particular event is a one-day event. We are looking forward to the day that nobody shows up and they don't need us. But the focus of the event is just, we're here to help today. Right. We are here to serve. We're not looking at how or why any particular person got there. For that day, everybody who walks through the door is our guest, and we want to treat them that way. And everybody who shows up has that same attitude. It's for such a, obviously, you're dealing with a very vulnerable population, and yet this particular event has a celebratory. I don't know if it's celebratory is the right word. You see community at its best. during that day.
Yeah. And then, so the library's there.
Yes.
What does the library do at a Connect event?
It started out that we were there to forgive library fines.
Okay.
And so we would be there with all the libraries in the area. And so if somebody came up and said, I miss coming to the library, but my card's blocked, then we could help take care of it.
Okay.
Now that we don't have fines, we do a little less, but there's still some outreach to be done,
right.
Or talking with folks, or answering questions, or sometimes their accounts are still blocked for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm. And you guys can help with that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Do you mind if we shift gears?
Sure, whatever you'd like. We can go around and come back again.
Okay. There's, so happening in April, we are doing a food drive.
We are.
This is exciting. I mean, we've done food drives before.
Yes.
But I don't know if we've ever done a month-long one.
Correct.
And can you tell us a little about that and sort of what this does to help address food insecurity?
Absolutely. Well, it's the district has done this for a long time, and it was usually done in April and coincided with fine forgiveness again.
Right.
So if people brought in food, that we would accept that instead of dollars to forgive their fines. Unsurprisingly, when we did away with library fines, the amount of food that came in plummeted.
Sure.
So I looked at it last year and thought there has to be ways that we can do more and do better. So I reached out to our sister systems.
Right. Yes. We have three. There's three in Spokane County.
There's three of us all together. Yes, we have our Liberty Lake neighbors and Spokane Public Library. So I contacted both of them and said, what if we all did this together? What if we did this across the whole county? And what if we did it for a month? So that, if somebody comes to check out books, they're due in 4 weeks. So they're going to bring them back hopefully in 4 weeks. Right. And so the idea is that if they see that the drive is happening, they may bring food the next time they come.
Right.
So the two library systems were really enthusiastic. They said, yeah, let's do it. And hopefully this is a teaser that I'm allowed to give. KHQ is going to try to come in and help us for a couple weeks there too.
Oh, good.
2 weeks for them is plenty.
Sure.
I shouldn't say plenty. It's very exciting. Right. And we don't know exactly what that's going to look like yet, but still to be able to bring the issue forward. And I think bringing food to the food banks obviously helps. Right. But I think even more so is just an awareness to tell our community about this issue, because I think food banks and pantries and whatnot, sometimes they can do more with dollars than with, just one can of beans at a time. Sure. But it raises the awareness that this is an issue in Spokane. Right. And I think most people would be really surprised to know that just in the last couple of years, 19% of our kids in Spokane County are dealing with food insecurity. Right. Like almost 1 in 5 kids, it's not guaranteed that they're going to have full bellies every day. Right. That's pretty major, and something that even if we just share that with our friends and neighbors and library community, I think that they will be called to want to do something about that. Yeah, absolutely. And and we're also, like you said, you mentioned food banks and kitchens, and so if I live in Medical Lake and I'm donating to my Medical Lake Library, is that going to go to a local food bank? Okay. Yes, that's I think almost all 10 of our locations have a food bank very close by. Okay. So any library that doesn't have a local food bank like that, and I believe Medical Lake has one, Cheney does, Deer Park has the Greenhouse, Partners Inland Northwest out here in the valley, so we can get food directly to them. Any place that does not will still collect the food, and it will go directly to Second Harvest. I was going to say, did I not mention Second Harvest yet? I know Second Shame Harvest. On me. Yeah, we're doing this with Second Harvest. We're getting there, Aileen. We're getting there. Like, oh my gosh, I left out one of the big partners. So Second Harvest is helping us do all of this, and so any food that isn't going directly to the food bank, and all these food banks also work with Second Harvest anyway. Okay. But then they will help collect food and then redistribute it around the county. Okay. And that will be true, I believe, the city libraries as well, that if there's not, a food bank right nearby, then Second Harvest will help spread it around. And I know a lot of folks think of donating around like a Thanksgiving or Christmas time. A lot of the grocery stores, you can buy like a bag and they'll get donated. And so I think April, it seems like a nice reminder. Yeah. Maybe that the donation of food or time to Second Harvest is kind of maybe waned a little bit? I suspect that's true. I don't know the statistics about that, but one of the reasons that this all came to my attention was just chit-chatting with somebody at the food bank here in Spokane Valley, and when he talked about the number of families that he saw every month, is steady. It's been steady, steady, steady. But what was shocking is how many families he said he was seeing that were brand new. They had never seen in their food bank before.
I see.
So anecdotally, we know that is happening, that the food insecurity is real and increasing and is year-round.
Okay, yeah. All right. Well, that's, again, another great kind of community outreach, engagement, partnership, where the library's out in the community. Or here, we're collecting the food in, but then we're sending it back out with our partners with Second Harvest.
Yeah.
Our Tuesday Memory Cafes at North Spokane Library are friendly, weekly gatherings that offer a community space for those navigating memory loss and their caregivers. Every Tuesday at 11 a.m., stop into the library to connect and participate in activities, all selected to promote mental acuity, health, and wellness. Memory cafes are a comfortable way to connect with other caregivers and people experiencing memory loss. Be part of something special where understanding and support go hand in hand.
Yeah. Well, I think libraries in the last decade have started paying attention to food deserts, and I think there are some libraries out there that, are even food distribution sites. If you look at it, it's quite a universe and quite an ecosystem of food insecurity and food rescue that happens around the country, and it's surprising how many places that their closest store to buy food might be a dollar store, and it might be still 30 miles away. I mean, around the country.
Sure.
That's not necessarily true here in Spokane. So I think libraries have been paying attention to this for a while. But as I was thinking about it for here in Spokane, and this may get a little bit silly, but thinking back to the history of libraries, what are libraries about, right? They're about that there is power in knowledge.
Yes.
And libraries are not about books or the internet. They're about what you get from those books or the internet, that knowledge.
Absolutely.
And knowledge is also about access and pulling together resources. And so that's what libraries have always done, is be a part of access and resources and sharing that out. So for here in Spokane, where we don't necessarily have as major a food desert as other places, we can still pull together resources and share them back out. And I think that's what our snack program is.
That's right. We have expanded just recently in October the after school snack program.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's, I believe, at Valley and Cheney and North Spokane.
And
Deer Park.
Deer Park is where it started.
Yeah, the original.
Yes, the original.
I was forgetting the original Deer Park program.
Yeah, but that's a place where, it takes minimal amount of staff time to run that program, and all of the food is reimbursed through different programs out there. So we are bringing resources that are already here in our state or already, available. Federal funding that's already available, and finding a way to share it back out. Like that just is something libraries have always done. So it's not a jump to say that we should be involved in this.
And it's impacting dozens of kids daily after school at all four of those libraries that we're able to do it
and we all know kids learn better when they're not hungry.
Absolutely.
We also know now from these snack programs, they behave better in the library when they're not hungry. I think that's kind of been a happy byproduct that they learned in Deer Park, that the behavior issues from kids right after school, balance their blood sugar, and you don't have as many issues fighting over computers.
Hangry is a thing.
Absolutely.
Even in kids.
Absolutely.
Anybody who's been around or had a kid, you can tell, oh, wait, when was the last time we had a snack or a meal?
Yeah, for sure.
That's funny. Do you have any other sort of partnerships or community organizations or responses from the public or that you can tell us about, different stories or things that have happened?
I think those are the main ones with our food, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go next with Second Harvest and with the food drive. But the number of agencies and services that come together for the Homeless Connect is huge, and my role over the years has evolved to where I help sign up all the service providers and all the groups that come in. Last year there was almost 125 of them.
Wow.
Might have been right around 120. So I'm helping coordinate all of those and working with staff from all those places and figuring out where to physically put them in the convention center. But it means I've developed relationships with a lot of places that's been really cool to bring into the library. The one I've been working on the most this last year is with Chaz Health, who's been a terrific community partner in all sorts of different ways. And so we've done a couple of different things with them. They have a mobile service that includes a mobile office right on a big old truck, but also a team that can pretty much do, some basic health stuff anywhere. So Chaz has been bringing their mobile services to Spokane Valley on the first and third Friday of the month from 1 to 4 p.m. for some time, and they're going to continue to do that. We've had them come into the library to have a person tabling and giving out information around the same time we're doing story time, so that they can talk to parents and caregivers about the importance of wellness checks. And then they'll bring somebody right in from and I'm at the clinic that's just down the street, and so mine is the face that you will see when you come. So building some relationships there. And then we're exploring a little bit as to, is there a place that works for telehealth in our libraries? I don't know yet, because I don't know that the need is here in the same way that it might be in some rural places where clinics can be much, much further away. But we're talking about that and what could that look like. So Chaz is the biggest one that I've probably been working on.
And we've done a few, I guess we've called them library community connects, where it's we brought in Chaz and then a few other kind of local partners, mostly in the Spokane Valley.
We did. And I would say that's been mixed in the sense that, and it's true with when any of these Connect events, when somebody's in crisis and they need DSHS or they need these different things, the chances that it lines up on the first and the third Friday of the month between 1 and 4 p.m. Isn't as great, isn't huge. And so it was bringing in a lot of providers to spend a lot of time for not a lot of folks. So I think it makes more sense to potentially bring those same providers in to table directly in the library at different times, or just be aware of how to get folks in touch with them. So it was good, and it was certainly good, I think, for myself and other staff to meet with all of those service providers, but I don't know if we'll continue to do that quite so regularly without having a link in. And we're doing that a little bit with Chaz. I can back up a little bit. I learned from the Chaz, my Chaz contact, that currently Chaz in Spokane Valley is pretty much a capacity. They can't take new patients for the most part. However, at the same time, there are several agencies that are either choosing to resettle or people are self-selecting to settle who are refugees or immigrants out in Spokane Valley. So they have this influx of new people to the community that need medical care, don't have a primary doctor, and don't know what to do about it. So what we have done is partnered with IRC, the International Rescue Committee, who works with New Settlement, and the Manzanita House. And they're working directly with their clients to bring them to Chaz at the library at that time.
I see.
And even going so far as to connecting with them before they get here to start their medical charts and have that stuff all ready so they come right in. So I think if we can find that kind of hook for a connect where there's already some agencies that have clients they can bring right in.
Yeah, we're partnering with the folks that are working with the folks that we think need the thing that we're going to provide. But so it's multiple agencies, multiple partners, kind of a way to get the community into a spot, the library, where they can get what they need.
Absolutely. And not only get what they need at a really basic level of medical care, but, once they have stable medical care and they're like, wait a minute, what's going on here at this library? With toys all around and with bringing their kids in and all these resources. And as we've worked really hard to expand our collection with world languages, there's more for them to find here. So we're kind of baking it into the plan of also then doing some library orientation and how to get a library card and what do you need, what does it involve. There's some hesitancy sometimes with new folks as to, especially if they, are still working on their paperwork to be here, that they don't want to present that to a library.
Well, and the concept of a library, I think it's like you talked about at the beginning about knowledge and resources and access. But maybe in other countries, libraries are a little different. I have heard that some libraries have there's a fee you pay. You have to, kind of like if you're going to join a gym or something, you have to pay a monthly membership or something, or annual. And so that can be prohibitive. And folks might be immigrating here and not realize it's free. That we're being paid through taxpayer dollars. And so when you're coming in, and everybody's paying for that, whether it's rent or if you own a home. But so when they're coming into the library, the library card they're getting is free.
Right.
They don't have to pay a fee for that.
Right.
The books they're checking out are free. They don't have to pay a fee for that. So it's like sometimes that's eye-opening for people.
I think that's very true. What libraries are and what they look like and what they offer can be different from one place to the next.
Yes.
And whether or not we're the government as a library
Sure.
can be intimidating to some. So yeah, when they have the help and can build trust through an agency that they're already working with, to know that we're here to help, and it helps our community, like to help make them stable and to stay in our community, makes them long-term residents that are going to pay more taxes. It's an investment.
Right.
It's an investment in the whole community.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Well, is there anything else you want to touch on that maybe we didn't quite get to talk enough about?
I don't know. We talked a lot about the Homeless Connect. We talked about some of our partners here. I think, just community engagement in general is just, it's such a joy for me to get to go out and do. It's so fun. It's, I feel like I'm constantly building a reference collection in my head of, who's in our community, what are they doing, where to go. It's really different if I've been, and when I was, on the front desk more often, if a person came in and said, I'm hungry, I don't know what to do, you can hand them a list of local food banks or free meal sites, which is still good to do, but it's also very different to say, here's this list, but are you hungry today? I know David over at Partner Inland Northwest is their emergency meal person. Let's get you in touch with them today. So I'm kind of out and about collecting those things all the time, hopefully to have a place to share them out sometime.
Absolutely.
and I think I do, but it's a real joy to get to be able to do that and make a difference in people's life.
If there's an organization out there listening or watching today, and they're like, oh yeah, the library, we can connect through them and reach our community, they should contact you?
They should contact me, yes. Contact the library and somebody will put them in touch with me. Or, a lot of our librarians are out in their individual communities all the time doing this work. So I'm not, this isn't new work to the library, and our librarians do it really, really well. I think there's kind of a naturalness to it. Librarians are just naturally connectors and want to connect people to what they need. So they can contact almost anyone at the library, and we'll figure out who's the right person.
Go into or call your local library.
Yes.
And whether they get in contact with you or one of the other librarians that is in that community working with those folks.
Absolutely.
We'll get you connected.
We'd love to try to figure out how. I always kind of start a conversation like, how can we make this work? And sometimes we can't, but it's really fun to try, and more often than not, there is a way to be helpful.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you.
And for being here and talking about it. And then we can hopefully keep the community connected and keep working as that kind of point of entry for folks that are looking for what they need.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. It was nice to talk with you.
It was good to talk with you too.